100 years, all electrical appliances and everything will become useless if they go through with a plan that was just proposed theoretically by someone reporting the news about this. And also, they want to disarm America so that they can push the New World Order agenda. And also, drones can now be used by the government to disable your communications abilities, which could drastically, affect the way the country operates. And then you've got these cities that are going bankrupt. So, what can you make of all this? This is total confusion. It's chaos. It's chaos, and it's chaos in the making. And the Bible says that in the last days, people will be confused and perplexed and not know what to do. And it says that the money system will collapse. And it says people will even be throwing gold into the streets. People right now look at gold and they say, well, gold is a uh, is a hedge against stuff like this. Well, it is to a certain point, but once it gets to a certain point, food trumps everything else. So if you don't have food, gold is worthless. You can't eat your gold. Um, and the beasts of the earth, are being slain earlier. The people that are raising livestock, what are they going to do to feed their livestock? I mean, this is going to have a ripple effect throughout the entire economy. It's not just a drought on crops we're talking about. We're talking about the food supply of the United States of America being drastically affected by this drought that we reported earlier. And there doesn't seem to be anyone trying to make any type of changes or affect any changes that can make a difference. So there's no call for any cutting back on consumption or anything else. So anyway, it's predicted in the Bible years and years ago, that thousands of years ago, in fact, that there will be famines, and that there will be huge die-outs of people. People will be starving to death. People in the world will be starving to death. People are starving now over in other countries, but we've never seen it in this country. Not until maybe now. I hope not. I don't want to be the guy that brings all the bad news to you, but I am just a reporter, and I'm just bringing it to you as it's being reported to me. And that's my service to you, is to make sure that you are informed so that you can make preparations, so that maybe you can stockpile some food like Joseph did with the Egyptians. And he headed off a 4-year famine in Egypt thousands of years ago. And buy things that have long shelf lives and do not lend themselves over to infestations or whatever by vermin and bugs and things of that nature, and that you can survive, you can get by. I'm not here trying to promote survivalism or anything else, but once you've lost your life, you've lost it, and there's no getting it back. And once your family members have lost theirs, the same thing. It's the end of the game. It's the end of the game for you. And we want you around. We want to see this country survive, and we want to see this country thrive again. And we want to see this country turn back to God, and this outlawing Christian believers just because they hold certain beliefs is absolute rot, in my opinion. It's absolute rot, because this country was founded on these principles. This is what made this country as great as it is. This is why we don't have to wear sidearms on our sides all the time. This is why we can go home and reasonably believe that our house is going to be there and not be filled with intruders. This is why we live the life of freedom that we live, that we take for granted because we send our soldiers off to see the blood and the guts and the gore that they see and the mayhem and everything else so that we won't have to see it. This is the reason why this country has grown and has become one of the biggest countries in the world, but yet we're falling apart at the seams from within because we've turned against ourselves. We've hired and elected officials that do not have the same belief systems that our forefathers had or that the founders of this country had. So therefore we are now in dire straits. They have put us in fetters, and now they're putting a gag order on us to make sure we don't say anything, or else we will be taken to task for it. And they want to take away our own means of self-defense in order so that they can put forth their social agenda and take it over completely. Don't give in to their lies and don't listen to them. For all of they're doing is just trying to foment trouble, turn the Constitution into a shredded document, and show that even after it's worked for over 200 years, all of a sudden, magically, it just doesn't work anymore. How do you figure that? It worked through the 1700s. It worked through the 1800s. It worked through the 1900s. But now in the year 2013, all of a sudden, it's an irrelevant document that just doesn't work anymore. And that is a load of hooey. You cannot believe these people. Even these people that have been kicked out of office are going right back and running for office again. I mean, can you believe this? They were disgraced and ran out of office, and yet they've been reelected, some of them. And yet they still haven't learned their lessons. They still believe they haven't done anything wrong. And what they'll do in the green, what the good book says, they'll do in the dry. Just think of what they'll do in the dry. If they'll do it whenever they just started doing it, what will they do 20 years from now? We need statespeople. We need statesmen. We need people that have the legitimate interest of this country at heart. We do not need to have people that are just trying to be career politicians to draw a salary and sit in Washington and do nothing except watch it burn while they fiddle on their fiddles. Well, this is Dan Beasley speaking to you today, and this is my opinion. This is one man's opinion, and I hope that you will listen to me because these news items are legitimate news items. They're coming from legitimate news sources, and they do hold the future of America in their hands. Thank God we have a creator that has watched over us and has taken care of us and has given us 2 oceans to protect us from our enemies, to keep us out of the fray of war. But when war comes to our shores, we will see unspeakable horror. Don't let it happen, folks. Don't let it happen. Shut off the faucet while you can before the tub overflows. Let's turn it back. Let's find out what we did wrong, backtrack, and start doing right again. This is Dan Beasley signing off for today, wishing you a good and godly day and hoping that you will rejoin our broadcast tomorrow. Have a great and godly day.